Hey, what's going on, man? This is Will Z Tillwell with Skybox Conversations, and you are now tuned into another episode, man. We'll talk about all things Lakers and about my Arkansas Hogs, man, because that is my hometown. That is where I'm from, and Woo Pig Sooie is near and dear to my heart. But today we're gonna be talking about, man, our Los Angeles Lakers, man, and Luka finally made his debut, and what a good one it was. Now, I know a lot of people came into this game, man. Even myself, when he walked in so clean in the suit, I'm like, man, he's gonna have a 30-point triple double, and that's just, being a fan, man. That's just knowing what that man is capable of, and that's just, just being excited and can't believe really the dude really is a Laker. That LeBron gets to play with a dude of this caliber. Now, no disrespect to AD because AD is a Hall of Famer and all of that in his own. We know that, right? That's not no shot at him, but man, he playing with Luka Dončić, man. Like that's crazy, right? That's stuff you have to do in 2K, right? And for them to be able to play together last night, man, it looked like poetry in motion. And this Laker team had just been kicking ass left and right, and it's been so refreshing to see after a couple years where we kind of struggle, right? Figuring out who we were and coaching things and so many things, man. So it's so refreshing just to see them comfortably put people away, and you can just sit back and watch, and it can be almost boring because of the way you whooping people. And that's fun at times, man, because man, been a long time coming. Been a long time coming. But I got some great talking points and some great questions to get into. Some that I've come up with myself, some that I've just seen around the NBA that I felt was interesting from the NBA community rather, and some people that just asked me some good questions that made me think of some things, right? And so I want to break down, these few questions and kind of give my insight to them, man, and let's just have a good time. Talk about some interesting things. Talk about some a potential big that we could be going after. We never know. Just things like that. And so let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. So first question is first. First impressions. Luca and LeBron. Can it work? Um, because you heard so many analysts and so many reporters and so many people around the association just saying, I don't know if this could work. I don't know if two, three ball dominant guys such as Luca, LeBron, and Austin can coexist. And even myself, I said that I don't know if it can work. I said, but I think it can work if certain people are willing to make certain sacrifices on this team. And that's exactly what happened. And it's almost commendable. And you almost have to like tip your hat because one thing I think that also continually makes LeBron one of the greatest ever is the way that he keeps reinvents himself in every stop that he's had. First thing in Cleveland, I got to do everything. I go to Miami, I have to be a part of a system, but I have to know when to take over. I go back to Cleveland, I have some help, but I still have to do my part. He goes to LA. I got a running mate with AD and they put some dogs around us, but I still have to be a captain. I still have to do my thing, and everybody else will pick up the slack around me. And now I have to do the little things on this team with Luca and Austin and those things. I have to be a screener. I have to move without the ball. I have to use my passing abilities that I've been doing for 20 years. I have to do these things, but I don't. But the beautiful part about it for Luca and LeBron is that neither one of them have to be in a situation where you have to worry about when they go out of the game. You have to put such a heavy scoring load on either one of them because even for Luca and Dallas, I felt like there were stretches where if he missed 4 or 5 shots, 6, 7 shots in a game, and it was said last night during the broadcast, there was these stretches where Dallas sometimes didn't recover from that, or Dallas looked really bad when he wasn't on. But it's like now that can kind of be overshadowed a little bit when he's not hitting consistent shots and making big plays and having 40-point triple doubles because, hey man, LeBron is there, Austin is there. Rui is one of the highest 3-point shooting dudes in the league. Man, Doe is hooping. Like we got enough pieces and we're so deep to where it's like you can kind of overshadow when things aren't always going our way. You know what I mean? And that's refreshing to see. But when you talk about can it work, I think it can work. I think, of course, it's going to continue to be a work in progress. I don't think we can get too overly excited about one game against the Utah Jazz, but I do think a game against the Jazz gives you chance and gives you reps to try things. For JJ to be creative, for LeBron and Luka to play off one another, for Austin to play off each other and see and just get a feel for each other. I think them playing that team back to back to play them last night and they're gonna play them again tomorrow. That's a great time to try things and figure out things and see what works and what doesn't work. That's a beautiful thing. And I think it can work. I think dudes have to continue to make sacrifices. I think dudes have to be willing to change their game up a little bit. Not much, but I think they have to be willing to do other things that they may have not been asked to do before. Um, moving without the ball, being willing to make the extra pass, popping the ball because the ball movement last night was beautiful. I think against any team, if you're moving the ball like that, you give yourself a chance. Because no matter whose hands it ended up in, especially when he went to that small ball lineup, which I'll get to that in a minute, um, it didn't matter whose hand it in. You're comfortable enough to say all five of those dudes can knock down a shot when you're moving and popping the ball like that. And Jackson Hayes, this dude is gonna eat from this combo because what Luka already said. I like having a dude that can get above the rim, catch it, throw it down. And I think all six of his dunks or all six of his field goals were literally just dunks out alley oops. First two play of the games, he got a quick four from Luka and LeBron back to back. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know if Jackson is going to necessarily be a starting caliber center, but I definitely think he is going to revive and take his career to another level by playing with dudes like this. And it's fun to watch, man. It is fun to watch. And yes, I think this duo can work. I think that again, got to be patient, got to work out the kinks, but being willing to make the extra pass, not being selfish, um, not the U turn, not your turn, my turn type of thing, but who's flowing, what's working, who's on tonight. Like being willing to do those things, which I think LeBron is. I think LeBron is like shit. I'm 40. I'm cool with taking a back seat. And I think him making that gesture he even made last night about the whole um would you like to be introduced first? I think that was dope. I think that was dope because it really symbolized like I'm cool with handing over the keys to the kingdom. I'm not one of them old bitter old heads that's trying to like stop the next generation from shining. And you never got that energy from LeBron anyway. But I think it just verified that. It validated that bro, I'm gonna teach you everything you didn't know about how to survive in LA, how to thrive in LA, and how to really take over this franchise. And you lead it for the next 10, 12 years. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that's dope. I think that was dope, and I think it can work just off of that alone. That LeBron is literally opening his arms to him and giving him the free game and instilling so much confidence in a dude that's already a fucking superstar. You see what I'm saying? Like, so if you got a dude around you that's a legend, instilling and pumping so much confidence and giving so much game to you, that's half of the equation right there. And then when you step on the court together, being willing to be unselfish and to make the extra play and do the small things for one another, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. I definitely think this can work. Could they become one of the best duos in the NBA? Absolutely. I think again, I think you can't be hasty with this. Um and just start saying all of this off of one game that they are the best duo and all of those things. I don't think you can do that this soon. Um, but of course they have the potential to be because if you look at them individually, they already are the top dudes in the league, of definitely of all time of this generation, right? But then again, it's gonna come down to them just continuing to have that cohesiveness, seeing how they close games together, seeing how they do against stiffer competition, right? I think we need to see those things. And we got a couple of tests coming up. You got Denver coming up. That's gonna be a good test. You got the Mavs coming up. Even though AD probably won't be there for that game, that sucks. That would have been a great man. That would have been a great headline. Um, you got some games coming up where it's like this is gonna be a test. And let me matter of fact, let's pull up their schedule and let's look at some of these next games that they have, and let's see when will be a good time to say, man, if they can do some things in these games, then damn right they're a scary team. Um, let's see, man. Let's see. Let's add it up here so y'all can see it with me. Okay. Um, so bro, let me see. We got the Jazz coming up again, like I said, tomorrow. That'll be another ramp up game. Great game for Luka to continue to get his legs under him, getting in shape. The Hornets, that's funny. But we're gonna talk about them too. They really tried to finesse us, bro. We got the Trailblazers. Don't sleep on the Trailblazers. I know they stink overall, and they have stunks, especially since Dame is left. But they were on like a 10-game winning streak or some shit, like a couple games ago, before they lost. So you gotta put them away. But I think these games right here are gonna be some great tests. Lakers at the Nuggets. Um, Lakers at the Nuggets. You got the Mavs coming to LA. You got the Wolves coming to LA. Got the Clippers coming to our house. You got the Clippers coming again a couple days later. You got the Pels, they stink. You got the Knicks. You got the Celtics. So I feel like around that March 8th, March 14th, the Nuggets again, the Bucks on the 13th. Like when you get to these games, That's a healthy enough sample size to say, hey man, this could be one of the best duos in the league. Then you can say, hey man, this team can do something, right? And I think that's when we can come back and label them as one of the best duos and label them as a team that can go very, very far, which is one of the key questions we're gonna ask ourselves later on in this show. But yeah, man, because if you really think about the duos around the league, I mean, who are the duos, right? You got Jalen Brunson and Cat. You got Giannis and Dame. You got Murray and Jokic, which is not really a strong duo to me as much anymore. Um, you got who are some other key duos? Am I forgetting some duos? I guess you got Shea and Chet. That's a great duo. You kind of got a big three with Jalen Williams though, low key. But Shea and Chet, or Shea and Jalen Williams. I guess you got JT and JB. That's a great duo. Um, I'm thinking those are the best ones. I mean, I guess you got Jalen Green and you got Shingun. Um, but when you start naming those dudes, why can't LeBron and Luca be at the top of that list? You know what I'm saying? They're already better than the majority of them dudes on individuals. So it's the matter of them just figuring it out. It's a matter of them being able to put it all together on a consistent basis, right? Not just against the Jazz. And I think again, March 13th, March 14th, March 15th, that time, about a month from now, we can look back and say, shit, who fucking with them? Duo wise. That's when we'll really know. That's when we really know. Now, I kind of mentioned this earlier. That small ball lineup, is that a game changer for the Lakers? I think it is, man. That lineup when he put out there, when he put Austin Reeves, he put Luca, he put LeBron, he put Rui, and he put Dorian Finney-Smith out there together. They was cooking shit. And if you really think about it, there are not a lot of teams around the NBA that can match up with that because they can switch everything. And on the defensive end, on our offensive end, who's guarding who? What is the coach? The coach has to make a tough decision. Either he has to go small ball. What does even he have if he even has the personnel to do so? And if he doesn't, what do you do? Do you switch? What do you do? Because we got shooters all around. If the ball is moving like that, all five dudes can shoot. All five dudes can put it on the floor. Like that's a really, really dangerous lineup. Now there are a select few teams um where I feel like it could struggle. I feel like they could be a struggle against, which matchups could this team work against and where could it struggle against. So I think that I'll go more so where it could struggle against and it'll kind of let you know who it could work against, right? So I think we talk about playing huge teams. When we talk about playing like Dallas healthy, you can't probably use that lineup as much, right? Because they're huge and when they're healthy, right? If Derek Lively is there, if Gafford is there, which is he just had a knee injury, and it's like, man, the Mavs kind of just got some bad juju going on right now, and that kind of sucks, man, because it kind of magnifies even more what the Mavs fans are already mad about with Nico. When it comes to saying like, bro, you traded away our 25-year-old superstar for a 32-year-old dude that has a pretty heavy injury history. Not as much as of late, but first game AD got hurt, which sucked. And now Daniel Gafford is down. Derek Lively is down. PJ Washington is down. Um, Man, that just gave them even more ammunition to be pissed, and you hate to see it. But against a team like Dallas, it could struggle. You probably won't see that very much against the Nuggets when Jokic is in. Probably won't see it as much. But you can definitely do it when he goes to the bench. You can definitely do it. Who else can you really won't see it that much? Probably with the Bucks at full strength. They're pretty huge, especially if Kuzma starts because he's like 6'9". So if you put Kuzma out there, Giannis out there, Brook Lopez out there, that's a big front court. Um, if you're playing against a healthy Thunder team, they pretty big, right? When you talk about you having Chet, you got Hardenstein, you got Shea 6'6", you got Jalen Williams 6'6", that's a big lineup too. And so I think we can match up well with just about anybody. But that small ball lineup is what people are already calling the death lineup, especially Laker Nation. They calling it the death lineup. I think it can do some damage to about 25 of the 32 teams in the league, definitely. Um, and give like coaches fits on how to guard it, how to coverage that, who to put in when it comes to their offense. Like that's gonna give people fits, man. And I'm excited to see it. And it was a good look of it and a good way to test it last night against a struggling Jazz team. Real talk. But this is a key thing I think we got to remember that patience is the key. I was gonna make a whole episode just about how we have to be patient. And I've mentioned this before, but again, I want to reiterate that because patience is the key. We're not there yet. We got to remember there was the Utah Jazz. They 12-39 or some shit like that. 12-40. They struggling. They man, and it sucks for Will Hardy because he's a great coach. He just don't have the pieces around him. Laurie Markin don't have the pieces around them. Stuff like that. They're just not there yet though. We're not there yet though, and I think you can't take that one game and just go too crazy with it. But I think it does give you some hope. I think it does give you a vision of what could be. Um, but Luka still got to get in shape, right? We still got to figure out the offense. We got to still figure out, the rotations. JJ still has to figure out what sets to run when who's in the game. Like for instance, that horn set he ran last night. I watched somebody kind of replay that and show that in slow motion, and it was beautiful, right? So just figuring out how to creatively use a dude like Luka, how to use a dude like LeBron, how to use these people, right? Because you had Austin coming off the playing off the ball a lot last night. Then he had the ball in his hand. Luka and LeBron both went out of the game together. So like just figuring out all of these different things, lineup wise, play wise, set wise. Man, Luka getting his legs under him after not playing for 6 weeks, a month and a half, right? Which I think also kind of yielded to him only having 14 points and went for 7 from 3, which I don't think anybody's panicking. I mean, we know what he can do. But it was his first game back, man. So we got to be patient. We got to be patient. And we got to get his time. And you also got to get the front office time and be patient with them because we're still on the hunt for a big, right? After the whole Mark Williams thing kind of just fell apart, right? That's a thing. So it's a lot of moving parts to this whole equation. It's a lot of things that we still got to do, but I'm excited, man. And speaking of the Marks Williams trade, let's talk about that real quick, man. Why it's fresh on my mind because um that's just funny to me. That's just funny to me that they felt like they could do this. I think it even further along makes you want to ask yourself, man, are they fucking with me? Like, are they trying to get over on me? Shout out to Brandon Ingram too. About him, being able to, him be able to get an extension, 3 years, 120 mil. I think he deserves that, man, and he hopefully get a chance to be on a team where he can ball out and make some noise. And they got a lot of young talent. Just got to see if it all come together though. In a weaker East, it might work though. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. But yeah, let me show y'all this, man. And so Sham said right here, he said that the Charlotte Hornets have been in contact with the NBA to explore options to dispute the Los Angeles Lakers' failed physical assessment of Mark Williams, sources tell ESPN. The Williams and the Dalton Connect trade was nixed Saturday, and now Hornets weigh avenues to challenge. And so, just doing a little research, listening around to other experts in the league, as they talked about this whole thing, what it sounds like is that and I think, man, what's his name? Man, he's always on NBA Today. He's always breaking down like contracts and things of that nature. His name is on the tip of my tongue. Um, anyway, he basically explained it like this is going to kind of look like the Charlotte Hornets getting their lawyers together, the Lakers getting their lawyers together, the NBA and their board being able to play judge and jury and come together and listen to both sides and make a decision of who's in the right. And he's basically saying that the Lakers 99.9% should win. This whole appeal process, but it's just weird to me because it makes you start asking certain questions like, one, I asked this from the beginning. Why were you willing to give up a 22, 23-year-old stud in his prime, not even his prime yet, that's averaging 17 and 10 roughly, even though it is for some great assets? I get that. But you already rebuilding. Why would you not want him as a cornerstone piece as your big when bigs are so hard to come across? Good, solid bigs that can average a double-double in that way. What are you not telling us? That's number one. And Rob must have saw something in the team, must have saw something on his physical that said, I don't know if he can sustain being a starter and we need him to play 60, 70 games, 65, 70. We need him for that. And I think they saw something that just was alarming to them and made them not want to do that. And then Charlotte Hornet comes out with this statement basically saying, yeah, we're so happy to have Mark back after the other team, blew us up basically to get him, making it seem like we were the thirsty ones. And Rob put that to sleep very quickly, saying, no, they offered him to us, right? And it was a good offer for the most part, so we went all in on it. But if you can't pass the physical, we're not going to do it because we giving up a lot to get him. We giving up our first round pick that we already recently had that we very high on, and now he's feeling away, right? He's feeling away. We might have to talk about that too. Like, do you think, can Dalton, can he get back in the swing of thing? Because I would feel some way too. Like if I found out you was going to trade me away, even if it is for a bid, you don't think it's going to be you because like I'm a first round draft pick. That's how he's looking at it, and I know I can help this ball club. Is probably how he's feeling about it. But I don't think hopefully he can get out his feelings, man. I know that's not easy to say, but hopefully he can. He can come back and hoop, man, because we need what he has to give if he's going to be on the team. Real talk. But yeah, so then Charlotte says, "Hey, we're so happy to have him back. Other team want him. We want him to help. We want to keep him. We know he's a great starting caliber. Big in this league." And I'm wondering, one, are you saying this because you're trying to shit on the Lakers, or are you saying this because you're wary now that the Lakers did this? He's going to be damaged goods, and no other team will possibly want to trade for him if you want to get him off your contract or get him off your books rather. Um, what's the play? And that's what I'm thinking. Like, what are you really trying to do? Um, because if you look at him and he's not unhealthy, you would want a dude like that around. He's a stud. It's just about him being able to stay healthy. And there were other questions floating around, like, hey, should a third party be involved when a team wants to veto a trade? Or, should there be certain stipulations where you still have to do it if the dude, even if he has an unhealthy history, if he's been playing and being relatively healthy, like, should you be able to overturn that? Which I'm guessing is going to be the Charlotte's, kind of angle is saying, like, yeah, he has his history, but he's been healthy for the most part. But overall, Rob can still say, hey, man, we're giving up a lot to get this dude. And we can't go off of a maybe when it was already a maybe, but now it's like why would we do that? And so I get it. But also it makes you think, well, would this happen and maybe so Rob could potentially get him, but not have to give up Dalton because they talk about now just having to do draft compensation versus having to give up your actual players. So could that work? But then I don't think that could work, right? Because then you have to free up roster spots. So I don't know. But it was very fishy. It was very weird. It was very questionable. And it was just like, that's weird. And it made you question the Charlotte even more to say, why are you trying to get rid of this dude so bad? If you're so happy to have him back, why are you trying to rescind the trade? If you like Mark as much as you're saying, why are you trying to give him back? That just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get that, but whatever. Back to the Lakers, man. What's been behind this Lakers surge? How do we sustain it? Um, I think there's been a couple things that have led to the Lakers being so successful. Winning on a 6-game winning streak, 10 of the last 11, 9 of the last 10. Um, um, it's so many things. I think for one, Jordan Goodwin he's been pretty damn good these last couple of games. Now I know that's not him saying he's contributed to the overall 6-7 game win streak we've been on, and I'm not saying that, but just in these last few, he's been since we got rid of Max too. At that guard position, he's been very solid. Defensively, super solid. Offensive had a great game last night. Right, it's the Jazz. We had a great game. Um, I think our defense has been number one. We have like a number one defense over the last 10 games. The versatility, being able to switch everything, the communication. And that really started when Doe got there. When Doe got there from Brooklyn, JJ said it. He said, even if he's not scoring like that, the things he does that are intangible, the communication, the shifts, not having LeBron to be the only one that's talking on defense, AD not having to be the only one that was talking on defense. That's been God sent. Jared Vanderbilt being back healthy and being able to be back on defense, being a great on-ball defender. We got one of the best defense in the league right now, and we are suffocating people. I've said this before. I think that being have a great number one defense. I've said this already. JJ's coaching and his creativity. from the offensive end to the defensive end. The sets he's running, the way he's getting people involved, the way he's putting the ball in Austin's hand. Austin playing like a number one option, even though he's a third option, and being willing to be the number one option when your other options are not there. That's big. He's hooping. Gabe Vincent has reemerged as one of the best bench players in the league. He is balling, right? So when you think about all of these things, you can't help but to say this is the reason why we're so successful right now. And then you add in Luka in the mix, and it just gets even crazier, right? But that's the real thing, though. But ask yourself though, even though all this is happening, even though all these things are taking place, even though we're being so successful in these areas I just mentioned, in real time, how close are the Lakers to contention? How close are we? In my honest opinion, I think we're still one piece away from just being a much more comfortable thing. I think you still need that big. I think Jackson has done great, but you haven't seen the Jokic's of the world for 7 games yet. You haven't seen the Giannis's of the world for 7 games yet, even though it's that he in the East. But you get my point. You haven't seen Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein for 7 games yet. You haven't seen who else is in the West. You haven't seen Shingun for 7 games yet. Even though I think we could beat the Rockets, I think we could beat OKC. I really do. But I think you need another big body. He don't have to come. I think just bringing in a dude that's fucking like that can just think, that has he has enough IQ and does his job well. You don't even need a stud per se yet. To have one would have been great, but just a dude that can do his job and do it well, protect the rim, dunk the ball, be active, use your fouls, make it hard on them. You can't stop some of these dudes I mentioned, but make it hard on them best you can. Um, Make them work, right? Which kind of brings us to that point in a minute of who we could potentially be going after. I think a dude like that could be cool, right? He could help us out. The dude I'm going to be talking about in a minute, which is actually, you know, this guy right here, Alex Lynn, formerly used to be with the Kings over there with De'Aaron Fox, and then was a backup, maybe the backup of the backup to Sabonis. He played early on before Sabonis got there in Sacramento. Solid dude. I don't really know much about his career, as far as like his numbers and things of that nature. I'll be honest. Let's look and see at some of his career stats. Let's look at those real quick. Overview. Yeah, so he hasn't done very much. I won't even show y'all guys this stuff because he hasn't done very much. I mean, he hasn't done much. But again, I just think bringing in a big body like that, it can be so helpful, right? And somebody that can just do their job. Hey, and understand JJ telling him, hey, we don't need you to come in doing anything special. You ain't got to do too much. Just come in and do your job, right? Make it hard on the other bigs. Give our guys a break. Make it easy for Luka and them to find you. And those guys are gonna make the game easy for a dude like Alex Lynn anyway. Right? They're gonna take so much attention, Luka and LeBron and Austin, where it's like Lynn probably can eat just like Jackson did. Right? I think that can be very, very, very possible. And so he didn't sign with the Pacers. And Rob said last night that we're going to address the center situation very soon. And so you have to think he's going to potentially go after a dude like that, or maybe even Alex Lynn has reached out to his representation has reached out and say, "Hey, I would love potentially come over here and be y'all starting center or play some backup minutes." You know what I'm saying? So that's something to keep your eye on, man. That's something to keep your eye on. This is another big question when we talk about our bench. Can Dawson get back in the swing of things? Now it might have been forced, but I did see a tweet last night where it was like, man, Dalton wasn't clapping, he wasn't smiling, he wasn't engaging, he wasn't doing any of that last night, in that blowout win when most people were. And you have to just wonder, it's like, and he even told JJ, I need time to kind of get my mind right, after all of this happened. Like, I had to go to Charlotte. I'm shooting in Charlotte, warm up. I'm mad as hell. Y'all done sent me to purgatory from LA to this, and then y'all want me to come back. The only reason I'm back is because he wasn't healthy. Like, y'all didn't want me for real. I'm just shippable. And the sooner he also learns that it's a business. It's nothing personal. Of course, we would have loved to keep you, bro, but we couldn't. This second apron, you know, freeing up roster spot, all this, it's so many limitations. It ain't just because we wanted to do that to you. So I think the sooner he can learn that, accept that, and maybe even be okay with it, even though it sucks, the sooner everything is going to be okay, right? But I know that it's not easy to see or hear, right? And I'm not going to tell him to get over it. That's insensitive, but I do think he has to like kind of put that behind him and remind them why they drafted him in the top 20, right? Remind them why he was the first round draft pick when he gets his opportunities. I think that's what he really has to do. And if he can do that, then that second unit becomes even scarier. You know what I'm saying? Because you still have enough defense in that second unit where he can do that. He can be out there and not be a liability. But he gonna have to move on and you know put that behind him. And last but not least, what are the Lakers ranked now compared to the top contenders? Let's look at it. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. We can talk about just the standings. Let's look at the standings real quick and see where everything is. Because I think that kind of speaks for itself, right? And I think it's kind of accurate as to where we are right now, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna show y'all right now. Right. So right now we are we are okay. So you got the Thunder, you got the Grizz, you got the Nuggets, and then you got us as the Lakers at the number 4 seed right now. So you talking about where do we rank against these top teams? I definitely think it's accurate that we are better than the Rockets. We are better than the Clippers. We are better than all of these dudes that are below us. That's pretty accurate. But I honestly feel, even though the Nuggets have been our kryptonite in recent past, I think with the coaching change, I think um with the coaching change, with the personnel, again, still need that big body, still need that, right? For us to do like Jokic is sure. But if you go get that, I'm comfortable beating the Nuggets. I'm comfortable against the Grizzlies. The Thunder is one of the only teams I'm like, you got to be on your shit. You can beat them, but you can't bullshit. And JJ gonna have to coach his ass off, which I'm confident he can do. But if you follow the game plan, our dudes show up, we can go toe to toe with them. We got the pieces, right? You talk about a Shea, we got Luka. You talk about a Jalen Williams, man, we got Austin Reeves or LeBron. You talk about who they Chet, we got LeBron. We got Austin Reeves, right? Who's checking Chet? That's the thing, right? Um, you need a big body, right? He doesn't have to go toe to toe with him and match up with him scoring wise and all of that, but he has to be able to contain them and help as much as he can. But when you talk about talent for talent, we got that. Coaching, I feel pretty good against JJ against Dagnall. I feel pretty good about that. We can beat anybody, man. But only Thunder I really see. Then in the East, you got who? The Cavs. You got the Celtics. So right now, just from me looking at this, I would say there are 3 teams that could be above us. We in the top 4. I see that happening. I see us being in the top 4 when it comes to how do we rank against the top team. Top 4 could be top 3 because I honestly think we can be better than the Cavs. In my honest opinion, because I don't trust the Cavs when you talk about getting to the playoffs. I don't trust them like that. I don't. I know they got a new coach, and Kenny Atkinson is coaching his ass off. He is. You can't take that away from him. But I just don't trust them, and I got to see it before I believe. And I don't think if they lose in the playoffs, it's not going to be necessarily Kenny Atkinson's fault. I think it's just going to be that you know certain dudes don't show up. But I ain't gonna lie though. I'm not gonna lie. Them getting DeAndre Hunter, that did something for them because you offload a dude like Karis LeVert, who is, he cool, but he ain't really no defensive guy. And then who they give up? Dude from Iowa State. I forgot his name. Right? He can shoot the ball, but he ain't no defensive guy. Right? So man, I ain't gonna lie, that was a great pickup for them, and that should help them out a lot. But I'm just not like scared of them. Right? So top 3, top 4 for sure. And yeah, man, I just can't think of a better way to end the show than that because I'm very impressed with Luka LeBron at first glimpse. I think we can match up well with just about anybody. We can be one of the best duos in the league. That small ball lineup is scary, very much so. We got to be patient. We got to be patient. I think we're going to continue this surge. Hopefully, we can get another win tomorrow against the Jazz. We're very close to being contenders. We just need to get another big body, and then let's see how far we go. Let's see how far we can go, and let's see if Alex Lynn is indeed the one that Rob Pelinka picks up in the next couple of days, man. But yeah, man, that concludes another episode of Skybox Conversation. I love y'all so much. I'll be back with an episode tomorrow and the next day and the next day. I'm thinking about doing a live tomorrow during the game and just kind of doing some, in-game chatting, man, while the game is going on. So we'll see. But I love y'all so much, man. Until the next episode, man. Peace. Love. Yes, sir.